Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. I am your host, CWall, and as always, I just love catching up with you guys on Thursdays. I absolutely love it. I'm taking a deep breath because I was like, okay, it's going to be a lot to talk about this evening. But, so look, really quick, while I'm giving everybody an opportunity to get on in the virtual room, I already see you, my god brother, Ebo. I was like, you know what? At least this week, I'm not tired. I'm not tired. Remember last week, I was exhausted. So I'm not exhausted this week. And good thing I'm not, because when is there a dull moment in DC sports? When is there a dull moment in DC sports? That's right. Never. Absolutely never. And last week was a little quiet, right? Remember, we mentioned that on the show last week. We said, you know what? It's never a dull moment, but it's a little calm. It's absolutely calm. This week, not so much. Not so much at all. So I see everybody coming in. Everyone say hello to Mama Waller. She's tuned in. I already mentioned my god brother Ebo is on. Huge DC sports fans, John Adams, David Hood, Cameron Mingo, all on. Huge DC sports fan. And BFF, Fayola King is on. Listen, y'all, you want to make sure that you are tagging your DC sports loving family and friends in this show, because of course you can always watch it later. Absolutely. But when we're live, you can talk all the good talk with your fellow fans. So this is going to be a meaty one. And we already knew that, right? We knew that this was going to be an intense one. Now, hey, listen. If I'm being completely honest, we all know there was a lot to discuss with Washington football. But before we get to Washington football, we absolutely have to talk about the other sports. We have to talk about the other sports. We just have to, because there's a lot going on in all of the area sports. So we have to give them their just due, because this is a show we talk about all DC sports. And we're going to close the show out with a good meaty discussion on the Washington football. So let's already jump in and let's go. Mystics. We got to cover the Mystics first. Let's get on to the Mystics. So here's what I want to mention about the Mystics. It's real straight to the point. On Tuesday night, the Mystics played with 6 players, y'all. So Monday, the Mystics waived 3 players. They waived Kiera Leslie, Stella Johnson, and Megan Gustafson. Now, Megan is since back as of today on a 7-day contract, as is former team member Shatori Walker. She's back as well. But I have to talk about this. I have to just acknowledge the fact that this team suited up and played. Yes, they lost on Tuesday, but they still played with just 6 players. I could not believe it. But what are you going to do? They had to suit up. They had to play. In the attitude that they had was, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We still need to come out and play. So I couldn't believe And they played the full game. Tina Charles, Ariel Atkins, Sydney Wise, Leilani Mitchell, and Teresa Pleasance, and Shavonte Zealous coming off the bench. I said, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about right here. Because you got to have some serious resilience and serious confidence to say, yeah, we're going out here with 6 players. That's all we got. Kudos to the ladies. Seriously. That was a media call that while, yes, the team lost and it was, sad and everything, exactly what Leon is saying, they showed true grit. I'm not mad. And Kayla, I see your comment that you're a season ticket holder for the Mystics. Kudos to you. That's an awesome thing to be. Those Mystics games, I tell everybody every week on this show, go to the entertainment and sports arena. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The Mystics show up each and every time. And the other teams, when they come, it's some great ball being played in that arena. So check them out. Absolutely. But I just had to shout them out, and I had to absolutely mention that game because, as Cameron Mingo mentioned, the team is just being ridden with injuries, but yet they still show up. And that's exactly what I absolutely love to see. So shout out to the team. Also wanted to mention, I feel like every week we're shouting Tina Charles out. Tina Charles was named the WNBA Eastern Conference Player of the Month. So we absolutely have to shout her out because she is balling. So she's averaged 24.7 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game in the month of June. This is the 12th Player of the Month award that she has won. It's the most by any WNBA player. Kudos to Tina. Keep showing up. Keep being the example, not just for the Mystics, but for the whole league. We appreciate everything that you're putting forth out on the court for the Mystics. Now, I'm moving on to the Nats. And we absolutely got to talk Nats. We got to talk Wizards. And we still got to talk Washington football. All of that is still to come. All of it. Nats fans, check in. I need a like or a love emoji for real. For real for the Nats. Listen, you all, we come on the show and it's like the Nats are looking a little questionable. We're not going to say too much. Let's see what they're going to do. The Nats are now above 500. Right now, they're playing the Dodgers. And I see your comment here, John, that they're up, 1-0. And that's awesome and that's excellent. I want to talk about Kyle Schwarber and the historic hot streak that he is on. Now, during the pandemic year, Kyle had a rough year. And let me tell you, the Nats got Kyle on a bargain. This is a bargain player, right now. The what he's doing out there is so phenomenal that I'm like, who is this guy? Now, here's the thing. I remember Kyle when he played he was featured, or he was a contestant, if you will, participant in the home run derby. Who remembers who Kyle lost to in the home run derby? I'm going to give you all a minute. To see. Who knows? Who remembers? Offense off the chart right now. But who remembers who Kyle lost to in the home run derby? I'm going to give y'all a minute because I want to see who remembers. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. And John Adams already has guessed it. In the 2018 home run derby, he lost to Bryce Harper. And he was dynamite then. And so He's on fire. Now, we're speaking of the home run derby. Kyle has already said, hey, listen, if he gets an opportunity, which you know he will, to play in the home run derby, he's already said he's not going to do it. Again, complete bargain, this guy is. 1 year, $10 million deal. Huge bargain, bang for your buck, based on what he is contributing out there. So I'm just floored by the way that he's playing. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. We got to absolutely mention Trey Turner. And did y'all tell Trey happy birthday yesterday? It's not too late. You can still tell Trey happy birthday. You can still tell Trey happy birthday. What an offensive showing by the Nats yesterday against the Rays, 15-6. Trey being the fourth player in the modern era to hit for 3 career cycles. 3 career cycles. I was like, man, oh man, isn't this absolutely awesome? And hitting, so that we're clear and everybody knows, in baseball, hitting the cycle, it's you get hitting a single, a double, a triple, and a home run in the same game. And then Trey had the nerve, even in the first inning, to steal 2 bases. What a birthday it was for him, wasn't it? Oh my goodness. So Johnny Leon Hill, I don't know where you went, but you wanted to talk about the Nats, and we're talking about the Nats. I'm going to use the word that John Adams just used, phenomenal. This team is showing remnants. It's looking a bit like they going for a championship. It looks like they heating up. Yes, they still have issues from a pitching perspective, but when that offense gets going, the bats are on fire right now. Absolute fire. And they're heating up around the same time they really started heating up in that championship World Series year. If you haven't caught a game yet, absolutely do so. Listen, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the energy. I'm seeing that saying by Coach Martinez, hey, 1-0 every day. We're not worrying about tomorrow. We're worrying about today. 1-0 every single day. I absolutely love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. Shout out to the Nats, because y'all know we'll get on here and I'll drag them and I'll say, wait a minute, I don't know what's going on. Kyle is making it do what it do, and shout out to Trey Turner for still making an impact and doing his thing yesterday on his birthday. So we'll keep watching. We'll keep seeing what happens. It remains to be seen. But from an offensive perspective, they're absolutely spot on and doing exactly what you want to see, for certain. Absolutely for certain. Next up, Wizards fans, check in. Where are the Wizards fans? I want y'all to check in, because we got to talk about the coaching stuff. But before we get to the coaching stuff, we had another birthday this week. Absolutely had another birthday this week. Did you all tell Bradley Beal happy birthday on Monday? Did you? I hope that you did. Absolutely hope that you did. And while you're still wishing Brad happy birthday, make sure you all are sharing this show with who? Your DC sports loving family and friends. If you have folks that are absolutely wanting to talk about the Wizards and absolutely wanting to talk about the Washington football team, you want to tag them in this video. You want to tag them and get them involved in the live conversation. So before we get to all the things with coaching, we know that Brad has officially been named and selected as one of the 12 members of the U.S. Olympic men's basketball team. Shout out to Brad. Cameron, I know you said that you already wished him a happy birthday, so shout out to him. So wanted to mention this because I thought this was pretty cool. We got several monumental players in the Olympics. Can everyone give a guess? Give a guess on how many monumental sports and entertainment players are going to be in the Olympics. I'm going to give you a minute to get a guess. I'm going to give you a minute to get a guess in. I'm going to give you a second. Let's see. I don't even know either. See, let me see. It's 6. So Brad, and then we also have Rui, who is playing for Team Japan. Ariel Atkins and Tina Charles are playing for Team USA. Emma Messiman is playing for Team Belgium. And Leilani Mitchell is playing for Team Australia. So we want to support all of our monumental players. Of course, we're all going to be cheering for Team USA, but also wanted to shout out all of the other players with monumental that were able to, make their country's teams, and they'll be playing. Now, Wizards coaching search. I've already seen Ebo say that Sam Cassell better get the job. Who else are you all looking for to get the job? And while you all are commenting, let's talk about this a bit. So we know Chauncey Billups is off the table. Rick Carlisle is off the table. So who else is left? That absolutely leaves Sam Cassell. We know, and it's now public news, that Wes Unseld Jr. has been interviewed for the job. Wes Unseld Jr. is also being pursued heavily by the Orlando Magic. Heavily. So gotta watch this. Here's where I was like, wait a minute. Chris Fleming, Chicago Bulls assistant coach, Chris Fleming. I mean, he was a head coach. I mean, he's been an assistant in the U.S. with the Bulls, the Nets, and a season with the Nuggets, right? But he served as a head coach for the Germany national team. But I was still like, it's not like the Bulls have anything, the Bulls haven't done much more than the Wizards. So why would they want anybody from there? Just saying. Who else? Ronald Norred from the Hornets, assistant coach there. The Heat, Miami Heat assistant coach, Chris Quinn. A lot of discussion around Chris Quinn. He's been an assistant with the Heat since 2014. Let's see, he was also a 6-year NBA veteran, mostly with Miami. So there's been a lot of chatter about him. Also, a name that I'm just now hearing, Willie Green from the Phoenix Suns. He's actually been sought after and being discussed, and the Phoenix Suns are still in it. So we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Of course, everyone is talking about Sam Cassell or Wes Unseld Jr. I know I personally would be pleased with either one of those options. It remains to be seen. There's a lot of movement going on, so we just got to wait and see on this one. It still sounds like the team is targeting assistant coaches. So, of course, there's a lot of options when it comes to that. So we'll just have to see what happens, because you really can't tell. We can go back to Tommy Shepard's conference call once Scott Brooks, went his way, and we can think about all the things Tommy Shepard said from a perspective of a communicator and all these things. But who's going to get in here and win basketball games? What we're seeing this year in the NBA playoffs is a key indicator of teams that have turned it around in a short time period. even really what you saw last year with Miami Heat. So whoever it is got to make a splash and has to really be about defense and about player development and really position the Wizards to be the team that they should be. Absolutely should be. So still more to come there, but as always, we gotta shoot around some names and see who they're interviewing and who they're talking to and see where that goes. More to come on that one, Wizards fans. Washington football team. Washington football team. Washington football team. Washington football team. Check in, Washington football team fans. Where are you? Where are the Washington football teamers? Where is everybody? Are you all here? And while you're all checking in, because I absolutely want to see the Washington football team fans check in. Now, I had to laugh because I said, I went to one of the charitable foundation events on Monday and had a really nice time. I've been to that event before, at their golf classic at the Army Navy Country Club in Arlington, Virginia. I've been to that event before, and it was hot out there. It was hot, but it was nice. And, it's not every day, but you got to take the moments when you have the opportunity to have conversations with, of course, Julie Donaldson. I talked to Julie a lot on the media side before she was, interviewed and got the job with Washington football team. But I had an opportunity to talk directly with team president Jason Wright. And I'm probably going to hold off. Somebody may have to remind me. I'm probably going to hold off on some of what I wanted to share previously about my conversation with Jason, because I feel like in reflecting on the news, okay, Tanya Snyder's the co-CEO of the Washington football team, and then a day or two later, it's announced, okay, the NFL fined the Washington football team, and I'm pulling up the email from the NFL communications now because I don't want to miss anything. And I was like, the NFL fined the team $10 million, no suspensions, no charges, no taking draft picks. So while I'm talking, I really want you all to comment in the chat on what do you all think, in summary, what do you all think about this? And what are your immediate reactions to this? And the reason why I'm saying this and wanting to know your immediate reactions to this is because I saw my media colleague Mitch Tischler of NBC Sports Washington said a $10 million fine on a $3.5 billion business is almost the equivalent of a $285 fine to somebody who makes $100,000 a year. So here's the thing. $10 million is nothing. That was nothing. And money absolutely talks. I think I was once it came out that Tanya was the co-CEO, that was my sign that, okay, they have to do something, because of course she's a woman, and they have to do something to say, all right, this, we're going to try to change this culture, because see, the thing of it is everybody has to look at timing. This was happening since last year. It was actually happening since before that. It's one of the reasons that Ron Rivera is here. So if you wanted to make Tanya co-CEO, then you could have been made her co-CEO. You don't have to announce that she's co-CEO 2 days before it's going to be announced of the fine, right? You don't have to do that now. You could have been did that, right? I see questions about in terms of what does Tanya know? Well, if Tanya's handling the day-to-day operations of the business, well, it's business. So you can handle day-to-day operations. You can represent the team at league meetings and all of that. But everybody else is doing the work. Jason on the business side is doing the work. Ron Rivera on the football side is doing the work. So all you have to do is be the face. You have to be the one who shows up. You have to be the one that makes sure that all of these policies and procedures and protocols that they say that they are now putting together are being executed. But at the end of the day, that responsibility now rests on Jason and on Ron. Right? Okay. Here's where it starts getting interesting. Very interesting, right? So to this point right here that I see Stephen Dennis hailing from Hampton, Virginia. I got some Hamptonians on here. I got some Hamptonians, Pirate Pride. Show up, show up, show up. And Stephen is representing the Hampton area HR. And I've shared this before. I said, no HR policies should automatically get you suspended. No business can function, should function without HR policies in place. So your organization had zero. So hey, that should run you absolutely at least a suspension. Now, sure, some people can say, well, this could be just a plan to get Dan out quietly. And let me just say this. For what was happening and what was going down at that organization, taking Dan out quietly should not even be thought of. It could have been as loud as it wanted to be. To let it be a true statement that this type of culture and behavior will not be tolerated. This little $10 million fine, that's letting it be very clear that money talks. You can basically do whatever you want. Because that's what that is. No suspensions, no charges, no suspensions, no charges, no draft picks. Let's think about this real hard. The NFL is sending a huge message with this one. Huge message with this one. And hey, listen, I had my meltdown months ago about this topic, and I may have said it on this show and said, you know what? When Dan was allowed to get 100% ownership and all this and all that, I said, hey, listen, I had my meltdown back then because objectively, I knew this would happen, right? But if I'm being subjective and in my heart, in my emotions, I said, something's got to be done about this. But objectively, come on, y'all. Like, seriously. It's right here. The comment made today by the NFL that there was not a written report, that Roger Goodell wanted the information verbally. He wanted an oral report. He didn't want a written report. Well, okay. They interviewed 150 people. Dan Snyder himself twice. There's no notes. Where are the notes? If you come up with a list of recommendations with which Beth Wilkinson did in her team, and as far as we all know, and everyone, they did an amazing job. Okay, great, absolutely. They pull together recommendations based on the data collected. Where's the data? So, hey, so what everybody remember it in their head? And Beth came up with this in her head and then said, let me go and report on this. Is that what happened? When there's an investigation, there's absolutely a report. There's a report. Now, what's interesting is, Goodell was worried about a report because of the confidentiality. Well, yeah, I would be too, of course. Yes, because once it's written down, now you don't know who made a copy. You don't know if somebody emailed it out. You don't know if they really burned it. You don't know if they really shredded it. You have no idea. But I tell you what, the folks that were interviewed, the women who came forward and spoke up against this behavior, you think they don't have a copy of it? You think they don't know? They know. They got it. So, hey, listen, I'm not going to take up too much more of y'all's time telling you what you already know. I'm not. Dan has gone on to work on the new stadium. In his statement today, I'm sure that you all saw, he called them the Washington Football Club. Well, Dan, that's your issue right there. You can't just be quiet for once. But hey, this is who we're dealing with. Because see, here's the thing that got me. Despite knowing absolutely everything that the organization had been accused of, you still didn't think enough of yourself and say, let me step down. You didn't think for once. If you're the leader of an organization and the organization has gone down, this has gone down on your watch, you did not think for once, I'm going to step down. In 2 days before you know this is coming out, you already know it's coming out. Oh, Tanya, my wife here, she's going to be the co-CEO. Oh, all right. Okay. Thank you for that announcement. We appreciate it. Come on. We're not dumb. We're not stupid. Hey, listen. It's a lot of pride and egos and a whole lot of money associated in the NFL. I have shared with you all on the show that I've gone to a few Super Bowls now. And the week of Super Bowl, before you even get to the game, right? I've never seen anything like it. I'm completely in awe every time I attend a Super Bowl week, because the party and the fun happens way before Sunday. And I've always said, wow, the NFL is one of the biggest businesses. I've never seen anything like this, where they just got money and they just spend it all over whatever city they're having it in. So I said all that to say, they wasn't going to let one of their own go down. Because unfortunately, if one goes down, then there will absolutely be a few others that go as well. And they absolutely have to protect their brand. If you ever want a lesson in organizations that have to, and examples of protecting your brand, this is what it is right here. Right here. And hey, listen. I don't really have, I wanted to talk about it because it's breaking news. And have y'all noticed? Let me give y'all a tidbit. A lot of news tends to break on Thursdays, doesn't it? And the show was on Thursdays. And I just say, I feel for, some of the women who came forward, I know them personally. And what you try to do in this business anyway, because I turned my passion for DC sports into a business. It's like you got to separate your emotions. You absolutely, always. So it's no matter how much I may love the Washington Wizards or the Nats or the Mystics or the football team, anybody from a heart perspective, I would not be doing my job as a journalist in this town if I didn't come on this show and speak from an objective perspective. It's always business with me when it comes to this. However, when you know people who have been damaged and abused and have gone through the toxic nature of that culture that they've gone through, and a $10 million fine, that's horrendous. It's horrendous. And I feel for these families, for these women. I feel for the fans. I feel for the fans. And that's why I always say this fan base is one of the most loyal fan bases I have ever encountered. And here's exactly why. Because the owner has not given this town any respect. The owner has given the town nothing but embarrassment. Now, let me move back to the conversation I had with Jason Wright on Monday. Very direct conversation. If anybody on the chat that knows me in real life or talks to me on a regular basis, they know that I am very direct. I can be very frank as well, especially when I'm talking in a business setting. And I truly believe, I do, that Jason genuinely wants to do good. I do. I think he genuinely and absolutely knows what he is doing, from not only being a former player, but from a business perspective. He knows what to do. And I believe that he's going to do just that. He has a lot of compassion and empathy for the pain that people have gone through as a result of that organization. And there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to do all that he can, if he's able to do what he came here to do. If he's able to do what he came here to do, he's absolutely going to do that. Absolutely going to do that. I believe that in that conversation that I had with him, because the conversation was long enough and y'all girl is direct enough where I can just ask the questions, and he, with no issues, gave me answers. So, I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's here in such a time as this one. And it's time to move forward. It kind of is what it is. I hate to say that term, especially when it comes to something like this that's so serious. But to me, it's not so much about the Washington football team making a statement. It was about the NFL made a statement. And everybody should learn from this in terms of the brand of the NFL and what they're willing to do and what they're not willing to do. So there's that. We made it another week, y'all. We made it another week. And y'all join me and come and chat about all of our favorite DC sports teams. I have seen the compliments on my shirt, and thank you very much. I appreciate you all for complimenting me on the shirt. Listen, you all, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. It really, really has. And I hope that you all enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm getting ready to go and attend the Keith Sweat and Bobby Brown versus, not like in real life. I'm going to log into Instagram and watch it. But listen, thank y'all. Y'all continue to be safe. And I will see you guys next week.